Okay, I'm at a different location on a different computer, so that's why it looks different. Um, Sweeteners. So we all love sweet stuff. We love sweet things in our food. The American diet is pretty much like either salt or sweet, which is really important that we eat all the different types, astringent, sour, and incorporate it. In fact, in Ayurvedic um, science and health and medical practice, it's really important to stay balanced and to eat all these different things. And by not like eating, you know, um, uh, everything, we can get out of balance. And so the American diet is pretty much salt and sweet. So knowing that, let's look at sweeteners. So we have artificial sweeteners, right? Because we know that sugar is bad for you or whatever. So we have like high fructose corn syrup and sugar alternatives like Splenda, aspartame, xylitol. So really quickly, first and foremost, any like artificial sweeteners are really unhealthy for you. They're really bad. They really mess you up. Xylitol with an XY, you might have seen it in like some gums. Uh, I'm not gonna say anything on it aside from I know that there are like some pretty negative things about it because I can't think of it right now. But what I can talk about is a couple of things like Splenda, which is sucralose as opposed to sucrose. Sucralose, really, it's essential to look for the A, which is pretty much the regular term for Splenda as the brand name. And they say that they make it out of sugar. But really what they do is they break it down to one sugar molecule. And then they surround it with two or three, I think it's three, chlorine molecules. And so what it does is that, it's made from real sugar, so they can say that. It's at a molecular level. And then they add a bunch of chlorine, which is, a poison. We throw it in our pools to kill everything. However, ingesting it also, it really messes up our digestive tract. It kind of kills everything, burns everything. And why do they do that? Is because it tastes sweet, right? Like we taste the sugar, you don't necessarily taste the chlorine, and they make it really, really sweet, right? So you only have to use a little bit of it. And then, so like you taste it and it tastes sweet, but as your body processes it, the chlorine burns up the sugar, so you don't really get any sugar, but you just are pretty much essentially dumping a bunch of poison into your body. Not good at all. Messes up your pH balance as well, which is can really damage or really throws your body off balance and can be easily prone to a lot of sicknesses. So that's sucralose. Sucrose is just a sugar, like a kind of a regular type of sugar. They can come from cane sugar and stuff like that. Fructose, sugar from fruit. That's all right. Then we have aspartame. Aspartame, really, really bad. It's been, known to cause like brain cancer and really mess with the brain. And it's really funny how when it was created, the FDA like wouldn't pass it. But guess who passed it? What was it? What was his name? Not Karl Rove. Donald Rumsfeld. Who you might know as the Secretary of Defense. Prior to that, he ran a pharmaceutical company, which made the aspartame. And so, just look it up, like how he's connected to aspartame, and it's a really dirty story of how it's legal, pretty much, because this big defense guy muscled it in against the common good. Anyways, so alternatives to these really bad sweeteners, because we know, I like sweet stuff. Who doesn't like sweet stuff? So like, what are like some really good things to sweeten up our foods and our beverages that are an alternative to either these substitutes that are really bad or just the sugar itself? Okay, so first, I have a bunch of stuff over here. So first we have molasses. Now, right, it's kind of like an old-timey thing. Personally, I don't like the taste at all. I think it's gross. But I know a lot of people do. Like, they throw it in their cookies, like gingerbread and stuff like that. So don't forget about, like, maybe throwing this in, like, baked goods or stuff like that, to add a little sweetener. Something else, which is sweet, but not that sweet and similar, is this stuff. brown rice syrup. Brown rice syrup obviously comes from brown rice. It's or it's not very sweet, but it's sweet, and it's pretty good for you. It's from rice, not that bad, and it's widely available. And of course, you can get. Do not forget about honey. Bam, honey. And a really awesome thing about honey is you can oftentimes get it local. If you can't get it local, like the honeybees will go around to like the different plants and stuff like that, and pick up the pollen and touch all these plants. And so by eating the honey as well as eating bee pollen, which is really healthy for you, and a lot of B vitamins, pun intended. Well, not really. I mean, I would pun it up as much as possible. I know some people consider it punishment, but we'll go on from there. Anyways, but exposing yourself to those pollens and stuff like that, it can really help with allergies. Especially if it's like a local honey, as well as you're supporting like local business and stuff like that. So it's really awesome. So honey is amazing, right? And there's all the amazing things that healthy properties that go along with honey, and books have been written on it. So it's really good. Don't forget about how amazing honey is, especially local honey. Also, do not forget about maple syrup. Maple syrup is incredible, right? Maple syrup just tap a tree, just comes right out of a tree. So it's also a very healthy sweetener alternative. Also, it's really good in coffee. Really good in coffee. You can also add, it's my mom's favorite, with some coconut cream and maple syrup, and turn like any crappy cup of coffee into a sweet, fun treat. Not only you can use it in syrup, but you can also get it in these. You can get maple syrup in like different forms. This is like a sugar. I don't know if you can see it, like a sugar candy form, right? So like, it's you don't necessarily have to deal with all the stickiness. And let's get down to the last two. One of my favorites, just because it's not too weird, I guess. Which is blue agave. Blue agave is excellent. It's sweet, and a lot of things like these different sweeteners have like their own like unique flavor to them, right? So like maple syrup, although it's it can make things sweet, it also tastes like sweet maple. Same thing with honey, you can kind of taste the honey. Molasses, of course. Brown rice syrup actually doesn't have a very distinct sweetness to it, nor does it have a very strong flavor. So it's a very, very mild sweetener. But blue agave it's not necessarily the most healthiest for you, but it's it's very easily pourable, and I like to mix this with like 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, organic apple cider vinegar, and like a bunch of water, and use that like as a morning detoxer, body like pH equalizer, and also like a poor man's kombucha. Moving on, the last sweetener, which is a super amazing sweetener, is this little pack right here, stevia. Now, stevia is just a plant. It's just a leaf. And stevia is like 600 times sweeter than sugar. So typically they cut it with its stuff, inulin fiber. Okay, so they just put like a little bit of fiber in it, so because it's so sweet. Now, stevia has a pretty unique flavor to it, so it's kind of hard to get used to at first. But I kind of forced myself to get used to it when I first started, because it's a powder, it makes things really sweet. You don't have to use a lot of it, and it also has a lot of fiber. I mean, even though it's like a little bit, I guess like a teaspoon, which you would never use that much. It's like, I don't know, a cup of fiber or something like that. But also, stevia has some really great properties to it as well, which I won't get into all the great properties of all this stuff, beneficial things, because this video would be too long. I just want to expose you to all these different sweeteners, and let you know that if you don't reach for stevia, or don't reach for Splenda, sucralose, or aspartame, or equal, sweet and low, because all of these things are terrible poison that causes like a lot of destruction to your body. Also, the thing with stevia is you can get it in liquid, like these little liquid droppers, like a little tincture bottle. It looks like, and just like 1 or 2 drops, and it's just that does the trick. Like I said before, it's a plant, so it's just like plant leaf juice, and that's like a sweetener. It's not all this crazy processing, not all these crazy chemicals that pharmaceutical companies made. Or not like that they put in with a bunch of poisons. Anyways, so that's like a lot of the sweeteners. So if you gotta have something sweet, go with one of these like natural alternatives to like all these crazy poisons. I think that is about it. Oh, and the stevia thing. It's really cool. Is you can get like the liquid ones in different flavors, like like a chocolate or like caramel or something like that. So you can just drop a little bit in your coffee if you drink coffee, and then you can have like a flavored coffee. 'Cause I like that. I like coffee. Take care of yourself, take care of your body, and educate yourself, because education that's easily available through institutions is maybe not necessarily the best, or maybe, well, educate yourself through as many sources as you can, and figure out what resonates with you and what feels like the truth to you. So much love, take care of yourself, and namaste.